All right, everyone, welcome back. So excited about today's topic. It might seem basic at first, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. We're going to be looking at interrogative transformations, basically how we make questions in English. Turning those everyday statements into something that demands a response.
You'd think it'd be pretty straightforward, right? I mean, we do it all the time without even thinking.
Exactly. But when you really break it down, there's some interesting patterns depending on what kind of verb you're dealing with. And those patterns, those are what can make things tricky.
Absolutely. So where should we begin?
Well, let's start with the simplest case. Those sentences with be verbs. The ones like is, am, are, was, and were. They're all about describing states of being.
Like, she is happy.
Right. A simple statement. Now, to turn that into a question, all we have to do is flip the subject in the verb.
So it becomes, is she happy?
Is she happy? Easy peasy. No complicated grammar rules needed.
But of course, it can't stay that simple forever.
Oh, you know it. Things get a little more interesting when we throw helping verbs into the mix.
Ah, yes, those helpful little words like has, have, had, all those can, could, will, would, the list goes on. They team up with the main verb to give the sentence more nuance.
Like they're lending a helping hand. And when it comes to making questions, they really step into the spotlight.
Okay, so let's say we have the sentence, they have finished their work. How would we turn that into a question?
Well, since have is our helping verb, we just move it to the front of the line.
So we get, have they finished their work?
Have they finished their work?
Yeah.
See, it's all about rearranging the pieces.
Pretty neat, right? But things get even more dynamic when we start talking about action verbs. You know, the verbs that describe well actions?
Exactly. Running, jumping, singing, all that good stuff. But what happens when we want to ask a question about an action and there's no helping verb hanging around?
Good question. That's where our trusty trio of do, does, and did come in to save the day.
They're like the question-forming superheroes. So let's say someone says he likes coffee. How do we turn that into a question in the present tense?
Well, likes is an action verb, and there's no helping verb, so we need does. It becomes, does he like coffee?
Does he like coffee? I wonder what kind of coffee he likes.
Now let's rewind a bit and go back to the past tense. What about the sentence, she wrote a letter? How would we turn that into a question?
In that case, we need did, right? Because it happened in the past. So it becomes, did she write a letter?
Did she write a letter? Now that's a question that makes you want to know more. What kind of letter was it? Who was it for?
My thoughts, exactly. Okay, now let's fast forward and talk about questions about the future.
The future, always full of possibilities. When we have will or shall in the sentence, forming a question follows a similar pattern to helping verbs. They simply move to the front.
Like they're time travelers jumping to the beginning of the sentence. So, they will visit us soon becomes,
Will they visit us soon?
will they visit us soon? The suspense is killing me. I can't wait for their visit.
Oh, well, hopefully they visit soon. Last but not least, we have those fascinating modal verbs.
You mean the ones like can, could, may, might, should, and must? They add all those shades of possibility, obligation, permission to a sentence.
Precisely. They're the ones that set the rules and open up new possibilities. And the good news is forming questions with them is pretty straightforward.
Well, thank goodness.
Just like with helping verbs, we simply shift the modal verb to the beginning of the sentence. So, she can swim well becomes,
Can she swim well?
can she swim well? And there you have it.
Wow, that was quite the whirlwind tour of question formation, wasn't it? We covered so much ground from simple be verbs to those tricky modal verbs, and we saw how each type of verb has its own unique way of dancing into a question.
It really is amazing how effortlessly we use these transformations every single day. It just goes to show you how intricate and adaptable the English language truly is.
It makes you appreciate the power of language, doesn't it? How just a slight shift in word order can completely change the meaning and spark curiosity.
Absolutely. So the next time you find yourself asking a question, take a moment to appreciate the subtle mechanics at play. It's a reminder that even the most basic elements of language can hold hidden depths.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to try it out. Play around with different types of verbs and see how you can transform ordinary statements into captivating questions. You might be surprised by what you discover.
And who knows, maybe you'll even start noticing these patterns in other languages. The world of language is full of fascinating puzzles just waiting to be solved.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and until next time, happy questioning.